Advent is one of my favorite seasons of the church year. I grew up in Anchorage, Alaska, where this time of year it gets light around 10 and gets dark before 4. It's cold and dark, and many days I longed for morning, even when the sun had only just set. Advent is a season that a season that I feel deeply, deep down, that longing, that aching for light. When it is dark so often and so completely, it's easy to despair. But in Advent, we have Christmas to look forward to, Christmas to prepare for, and the preparations can distract from the short days, and the Christmas lights brighten the long nights. In Oregon, the days are shorter now, but when I feel Advent, I feel it like an Alaskan, longing for tomorrow, hoping for daybreak. But this year is different. Bingham talked last week about how when COVID first started, he thought it was going to be a really Lenty Lent. That's my words, not his. But that instead he wonders if this year has been a long Advent. Waiting, longing, hoping. I find that mixed with the hope and the longing this year, for the first time, I'm dreading Christmas a little. Can the baby Jesus be born if we aren't gathered together at church on Christmas Eve, singing Silent Night with our candles? Can the Messiah come if we can't be closer than 6 feet to the people we love? I guess so. I mean, of course, yes. But Advent feels a little less this year, a little colder, a little darker. Like hope is further away than it usually is. Like we may not get to celebrate the season we are preparing for until next year. Which means that I need the hope of Christmas more this year, more than in other years. How about you? Do you feel this too? I'm waiting for daybreak and longing for Christmas, not for the Christmas that will happen this year, but the one I had last year where we could all be together. So this year, Advent is a longing time, but it's also a grieving time. God's people have longed and grieved before. Comfort, oh comfort my people, says your God. A voice cries out, in the wilderness prepare the way of the Lord. Make straight the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain and hill made low. The uneven ground shall become level, and the rough places a plain. Then the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all people shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. It's a promise, God's promise. God hears our cries and the prayers of our hearts. God feels the pain of loss of loved ones, and time of security and expectations and hope. And God mourns and hopes with us, as God always does. The good news is what the good news always is. God will still arrive. God will still be among us once more. God is, in fact, still among us. A friend asked yesterday what inspires me, and I answered honestly to say that I am struggling. But I know that when I am, I lean back on what has worked before to look for the places where my life has become out of balance. For me, this is that keeping others safe means staying at home, and I get energy from being out and with people. So slowly I have found my way back to inspiration by finding different and safe ways to do the things that nourish my soul. I've started hiking, which some of you know is out of character. And I've started to reach out to people in different ways, notes and small gifts and phone calls. This is Advent, a season of preparation when we are called to make a highway in the desert for the Messiah who is coming. The ways that I normally build my highway aren't safe this year, and I desperately desperately want them to be. But if I disencumber my expectation, if I can take away all those, this is not how it's supposed to be or used to be, and all those stories that I tell myself, I can keep doing the work in a different and maybe just as earnest way. So how do you usually make the journey to Christ? How do you follow the star? This year will be different, and the grief and longing are to be expected. God calls on comfort for God's people, you and me. God is sending us divine love. How can we be conduits of that love? How can we share this much needed love and help to make the road straight and level? Let us hold together. Let us be beacons in the dark and walk together toward daybreak. Jesus was born and he will come again, and God will hold us while we wait. Let us wait with grace and love until the Messiah comes once more.